Now that we've reviewed a little bit about the first wave of immigration, we're going to take a look at the second wave of immigration. These immigrants are often nicknamed as the new immigrants, and these new immigrants came mostly from Eastern Europe and Southern Europe. So we're talking Polish individuals, Russians, Jews, Romanians, Italians, Czechs, Greeks, and so on. So the culture is going to vary a lot more, and they're going to be seen as quite different from the first by some. During the second wave of immigration, these new immigrants settled mostly in cities. So let's look at some reasons why they did so. So the first is going to be one that makes kind of logical sense to us, and that's joining family. Others had family members arrive, and they could help them with the process of settling in the United States, and it made it feel more comfortable and easier to come to America. Factories and factory jobs are going to grow, and unskilled labor was still needed. So these new immigrants could make a living without knowing the language immediately, and many times make more money than they would have in their home nation. During the second wave of immigration, many immigrant groups settled together in neighborhoods within these big cities. For example, Italians moved in together into Little Italy in New York, or in San Francisco, Chinese immigrants moved into Chinatowns. And settling like this together became known as ethnic clustering. Why was ethnic clustering so popular? Because you were able to join familiar communities, which made adjusting to the United States much easier for new immigrants. For example, if you lived in Little Italy, you might have a local newspaper written in Italian. You might hear Italy spoken on the streets. You'd have access to Italian groceries and eateries. So while you were getting used to the United States, you'd have some familiarity. Another reason, sadly, that caused immigrants to come to the United States during the second wave is going to be the Russian pogroms. Pogroms are violence and discrimination against Jews. And in fact, this is going to lead to 1/3 of the Jewish population leaving Eastern Europe. In fact, 1/8 of Russian immigrants were Jewish. Some Americans began to see these new immigrants as a threat and felt they weren't fitting in enough with American culture. We'll take a closer look at that a little bit later. During the second wave of immigration, to help process the huge amount of immigrants that were coming to the United States and specifically to the East Coast, Ellis Island was created, a new immigration processing center. By its end, 12 million immigrants would be processed here. In fact, 40% of the America's population can trace their ancestors to someone who passed through Ellis Island. Tomorrow, we'll delve into the process that immigrants faced in Ellis Island.